Here are a few more points to consider as we go through this. Again, this is just a little bit of backstory so that we can, or rather, I can lecture, and I always welcome comments on here. There are roughly 20 million Jews in the world in 2024. Of those, about 7.5 million live in Israel, and roughly 7.5 million or 7 million live in the United States. The rest are spread primarily over Europe, but there are about 20 million Jews in the or in the world today. Compare that to the fact there are 2 billion Muslims in the world in 2024. There are 1.2 billion Catholics, 1.1 billion Hindus, and 500 million Buddhists in the world in 2024. So the Jewish population in the world is exceedingly small, very small population. But boy, they take the lion's share of insults and harassment and persecution. So in the United States, we're a country of roughly 360 million people. Jews account for roughly 2% of our population, but they are victims of 55% of hate crimes as of 2022. 55% of the hate crimes in the United States are perpetrated against 2% of our population. 2%. Now, this is instructive. I'm going to make some comparisons as I go through this, and I don't want anybody to think I'm anti-Islamic, anti-Muslim. I've got a lot of Muslim friends. I love it. I've spent a lot of time in the Middle East, spent a lot of time in Africa, but it's instructive to make some comparisons. So Muslims account for about 1.1% of the population in the United States. We talk about Islamophobia, and again, Susan Sarandon, that dolt, made a pretty bold statement that was factually incorrect, but it gets people inflamed. So 1.1% of our population is victimized 8% of the time in hate crimes. So compare that to the Jewish population. 2% of the population victimized 55% of the time. 1.1% of the population, the Muslims, victimized 8% of the time. If you were to normalize that in statistics, that means for each 1% of the population, the Jews are targeted 27.5% of the time. They are victimized 25.5% of the time. Muslims are targeted 7.2% of the time, which means Jews are targeted 3.8 times as frequently as Muslims in the US. So it just goes to show statistically how pervasive anti Semitism is in the United States, how pervasive it is.